Show you where this happened, and we'll also explain how it could have been avoided when we come back.
Critics blasting Tuesday's election results, which they say now means liberal radicals will be running America's three largest cities, New York, Los Angeles, and Chicago. And with a socialist Democrat about to take the reins in the Big Apple, economists say it's the beginning of the end for New York City, with a mass exodus ahead for America's financial hub. And joining us now to discuss is former Trump White House economic advisor Steve Moore. Good morning to you, Steve. Now, you say the exodus of talent and capital leaving New York City is just going to accelerate. It's going to be so bad. It's going to be Wall Street now finding a new home in Texas. We know socialism and communism have never worked, but perhaps Mamdani's generation not so familiar with history like you and I are, you know? I mean, because it worked so well for Fidel Castro, as we know.
Yeah, look, I hope I'm wrong about this. I hope that Mamdani kind of moves to the middle and moves away from some of his more radical ideas. One of the ideas is to massively raise taxes on millionaires and billionaires in New York. New York already has the highest taxes on millionaires and billionaires. And Jen, that's one of the reasons they've been moving out. As you may or may not know, I worked in New York City for a number of years when I was working at the Wall Street Journal. And, you know, that was when Rudy Giuliani was mayor, and you could see just the improvement of common sense. He cut taxes. He got rid of the criminals. He got, homeless people off the streets. He got rid of graffiti, all of the kind of things that makes a city work. And I could see day after day and week after week the improvement in the city. And I don't want to see all those kind of policies reversed. And it's almost like Mamdani wants to be Giuliani in reverse, and that would be really a setback for the city. But, you know, when you say about people leaving New York City now, they've been leaving, as you know. And in fact, over the last 10 years, New York State has lost 2.5 million people, most of them leaving New York City. So, look, this is our empire city. It's the most important city in America. It has 8 million residents. I wish the best for the city. I hope that New York City survives this, and I don't want to see its decline, but I'm not optimistic right now.
Well, they have been leaving for various reasons, obviously. Now, though, don't you think it's going to get to a point where it's just not even affordable? You can't even afford to live there with some of these policies that he wants to enact.
Yeah. Well, what's so ironic is that one of the reasons that Mamdani won the election was the issue of affordability.
Correct.
And yet, so he's going to give everything away for free buses, free housing, free this, free that.
It's got to come from somewhere.
Who's going to pay for that? Obviously, you know, you're going to get a lot of people moving out who would pay the burden of this. And here's my prediction to you. I believe within a year or two, Mamdani is going to come with his hand out to Washington, D.C. and say, bail us out. And I don't think, you know, under this regime in Washington, they're going to bail out New York City.
Yeah. Well, let's hope not. I mean, Trump's said so far that he's going to stop funding to New York City if he wins, and he has. So let's see how this plays out. How much of this shutdown impacted these off-year races?
It probably negatively impacted the Republicans. And look, I'm not going to try to whitewash this. This was a bad election for Republicans. And what you saw, actually, is so interesting. I've been looking at the exit polling, and it was a massive increase in Democratic turnout. So, you know, you have a rage among Democrats about Trump, and they turned out big time to try to, reverse some of Trump's policies. So we'll see how that impacts what Trump does going forward. Yeah, but where I live in, Virginia, that is a state that went heavily Democrat. Much more so than any time in the last 20 years. And in part, I think, because a lot of those people who've been laid off are federal employees living in Virginia.
Correct, especially Northern Virginia.
Yeah.
We know that President Trump has also recently called upon Republicans, especially in the Senate, to use that nuclear option and do away with the filibuster. I know you're not a fan of this, but the question becomes, at this point, Democrats, especially those on the very far left, now feel like they have this momentum. It might not even be enough now to try to negotiate on these, health care subsidies, the Obamacare subsidies at this point. They might try something even more radical. At what point do you have to get rid of the filibuster?
I'm very opposed to getting rid of the filibuster. That's the 60-vote rule to pass things through the Senate, and it's a really important to the way system of government that you protect the rights of the minority. But I want to attach this to something you were just talking about earlier on the show about these exploding healthcare costs. I mean, I've been talking to people who've just gotten their healthcare bills for next year, and they're saying that in some cases 20, 25, 30% increases next year. And why is this happening? I want people to understand this very clearly. It's because it's been happening ever since we passed Obamacare. And Obamacare was supposed to make healthcare more affordable, and now people can't afford it. And that people are going to be really angry when they see those healthcare bills next year and their premiums going up. As I said, sometimes 20, 30, even 40%.
Can you explain this?
How are people going to afford that?
Yeah, can you explain this? Let's talk about Obamacare very quickly, because Medicare and these expanded subsidies, because taxpayers now cover, what, 87% of all premiums, I read?
Yes.
So that's a massive increase from 2018, from 77% according to this chart.
Yeah, this is an important point. That, first of all, the people who are lobbying the hardest in Washington to expand the Obamacare subsidies are the health insurance companies. They're the people who've gotten rich off of Obamacare, because basically all that money is just flowing right into their coffers. And now, the Obamacare subsidies are paying 80% of people, even though the government is paying a large part of the premiums, they're still going up on people. So you couldn't invent a system that is worse. My own attitude is people should have catastrophic health insurance, and then you have much lower premiums, and people would pay more out of pocket. We need health care price transparency in America, so people know what things cost. When's the last time when you go to a hospital or a doctor, you ask how much it costs? I mean, it's because somebody else is always paying for it.
This is so true. All right, former White House economic advisor Steve Moore. Always great to see you, sir. Thanks for joining us here on the National News Desk.
Thank you. Have a great weekend. Take care.
You too.